there's a rule, na? The rule is, if you wish for something, the universe follows a hierarchy. Hierarchy is what's best for the world, or what's best for some more people, or then what's best for you. So it happens. So then you just go with the ride. You keep reminding yourself that everything is on rent. Life is on rent. The body is on rent. Your day on earth is on rent. I am as angry as I can be, as aggressive as I can be, but it doesn't linger.
Wow.
So one thing meditation has taught me is it's temporary.
Namaste. Welcome to Idanim. Good morning, good evening. My name is Raman. I am so thrilled to introduce our guest for today's episode, Alok Kejriwal ji.
Thank you.
Alok ji is a serial entrepreneur and the founder of multiple companies. His current company, Games to Win, has over 500 million organic app downloads. He has earlier sold his mobile startup Mobile to Win to Walt Disney and Norwest Venture Partners. He also mentors and coaches entrepreneurs and startup founders through his blog, therobinhoods.com. He is also an author of 3 books. One of them is a national bestseller. I'm not done yet. He is also an art of living teacher and a dedicated meditator. While introducing Alokji, I am finding it hard to decide what to include and what to exclude, and I'm sure I can't do justice to his long list of achievements. So I'll stop here and I'll let Alokji talk. So Namaste, Alokji.
Thank you, Raman.
Thank you so much for sparing time. We are so glad to have you with us. So I'll dive in straight in. You have been a very successful internet entrepreneur. You also advise people, coach people on entrepreneurship. You take pride in calling yourself a capitalist and a spiritual seeker. There are many people who have this notion that business and spirituality can't go hand in hand. What has been your experience integrating these two aspects of life?
Excellent question, and thank you for having me on the show. Actually, Ramanji, they are integral. You know, just in Chinese, we have yin and yang. They are part of the same person. So there are 3 things that happen to most successful people, or as people find success. One is they become closet spiritualists or closet believers. They believe, but they don't want to show that they believe, because the world maybe looks at them as weak, as a weak aspect. The second is, as you get older and as you get more skilled, it begins to feel like the skills are working more than anything else. And that is a little bit of a, let's say, illusion. And the third is, of course, non-believers. You know, they just think of effort being the only reason they are where they are, which is great. The first 1 and 2, right? If you look at the world the way it has been, the Western world has always paved the way for spirituality and capitalism coexisting. And if you take, I keep quoting because nowadays the tech entrepreneurs of the world are the heroes. So if you start with, Apple founder, if you start with Steve Jobs, if you start with Mark Benioff, today's, founder of Salesforce, they publicly talk about their spirituality.
Right.
In the finance world, Ray Dalio, he says all the time, if I meditate twice a day, it's great. So it's not just that we are finding something unusual. It's already been done and perfected. I think in India, the challenge is how to present it. So while you do it, presenting is a problem. And I'm sure that in professional circuits, when you interview someone and they say, what do you do outside of job? They don't want to posture that they are meditators because you don't know how they'll be perceived. So I think it's a nice, it's a guard that people put on, and it's only jobs for you and me for us to unshackle that concept. So that's on the presentation side or the posturing side. See, on the inner growth side, right, it is so natural. All the gurus, all the hacks of productivity today are mental peace, mental balance, mindfulness. And how will that happen? What is the pill you can take to get mindfulness or mental balance? So yoga has always been a gift of India,
Absolutely.
and spirituality has always been in our country. I would add a small asterisk there, saying the hoax stroke, the wannabes of the spiritual world, or the people who pretend to be things they are not, that puts off a lot of our young generation, and especially people like you and me who are very, very clear about intent and practice. If you pretend to be who you are not, then I will not like you. So that also comes along with the stigma of not associating with these things. But if you look at finally the end outcome, you're doing all this for yourself. Whether you show it or not, at least be spiritual, because that is what is going to help us in the long run.
Absolutely, and I relate to that, Alokji, just sharing my experience. In the initial days of my practice, many people used to say, meditation क्यों start कर दी, जिंदगी में सब ठीक तो चल रहा है ना. Now I feel, since we started Idanim, now we talk to a lot of seekers, meditators, deep practitioners, and now it has become a mainstream thing. So things are changing. Just to add
Right,
to your point,
completely.
so there is a stigma, of course,
Yeah,
and I don't know why that happened. How did it appear? But
correct,
it is
correct,
changing. It is
correct,
changing.
correct.
So you spoke about meditation, your practice. What does meditation mean to you, and how has it manifested in your life?
It's a great question, Ramanji. I think three things again. One is its discipline. See, meditate करने के लिए भी discipline लगता है.
बिल्कुल.
है ना? वो मैट पर बैठना सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज. द फर्स्ट चैलेंज इज टू सिट ऑन द मैट. So I think it's a great way to learn how to discipline your body and your mind, because that's when you can't do anything else. Second is practice, the type of practice you learn. See, there are lots of routes and lots of ways of meditating.
Right.
You have to be very lucky to get the practice that suits you. So as I've written in my book, I'm a big shopper. I've been a spiritual shopper, went around many places to understand what suits me. And then when I found the art of living and the practice that was taught to me by my guru and his teachers, it suited me. So that's very part of my life now. I think you're right. You started by saying it's only when trouble happens that you find solutions. No one really does things proactively unless either put in a corner or forced. So in 99, 2000, I had a almost dot-com disaster going on, and I had to seek something to find a solution to my mental problems, and I found meditation. So yes, it was a cure for a problem. Unlike your case, मैंने कुछ सही नहीं था and I found an answer. But now it's become a part of like day-to-day life. And you know how it is with people who understand exercising and working out. If you don't, you get very uneasy. If you get very, very clear, I'm not done with the day. So it's become part of us now.
And you have actually been practicing every day, that, as you mentioned in your book?
Yeah, almost now 15, 20 years every day. Wow. Right.
And how do you incorporate spirituality and meditation practices to your work life?
That's a challenging one. So the concepts of spirituality are common, right? Just to be a good person. I'm talking about the end result. You can do whatever you want, but if it doesn't manifest in your behavior, what does it matter? And then to kind of, all the things that good people do, right? It's hard. It's hard, especially in the tech world, startup entrepreneur world, where every day is a fight of survival, and people definitely don't do what you think they should do or what they can do. It's a very hard battle to say, yes, stay aloof and stay calm, or, get aggressive. I really don't, I'll be honest here, I don't, neither do I hold back, neither do I completely unleash myself. What I do, Ramanji, I found that I am as angry as I can be, as aggressive as I can be, but it doesn't linger.
Wow.
So one thing meditation has taught me is it's temporary. And that is a great gift. And I've seen, I'll give you an example of someone, very, very, very accomplished art director of mine. And I would kind of keep on hassling him, you don't do this, you don't do that. And every year he would still be available in the company and we would do a appraisal. So the third year I said कि यार आप हो क्यों यहाँ पर बताओ, why you're JJ School of Arts guy, everybody is available to, he'll work for anyone. He says, Alok, you don't understand, your points are analytical driven. Why does the purple not work versus it's not, I don't like purple.
Right.
So he says, the challenge is no one tells me why my art worked or didn't work until you came along. The delivery could be better. Okay, you could say it in a better way. And then he said, but I understand that, when you keep on saying the same thing and I don't understand, it gets harsher. So I think meditation also allows me to forgive myself.
Bilkul.
Because it's a long, long journey of self-improvement. But because it's completely contained in a temporary zone, just to make you realize that you are wrong or I am right, or I am wrong, you are right, it doesn't become a problem it doesn't linger. And that I've seen people accept very well.
And at one point of time, we all realize that there is nothing wrong and right.
Completely. See, I mean, Ramanji, you can't be harassing people. But if you think your work is religion or God, and people are not doing what they need to do, I don't see any reason why you can't castigate them.
Absolutely.
है ना? अच्छा, अपने जो गुरु परंपरा है ना, जो all the gurus of the past, present, and I'm sure future, even they have personalities.
Bilkul.
है ना? Neem Karoli Baba used to shout at everyone. He used to hate at everyone. There was that Goli Wale Baba, Patthar Wale Baba. So I think even that is a color of our self. So it's okay if people find that you are objective, but you have a certain way of delivering that objectivity.
Bilkul.
I don't see any reason why one should not be what they can be if it's not natural.
Right.
So yeah, I will confess that it's one of the biggest things I have to work on, where I can truly reflect, like, this is a monk. He's this, Zen monk who's doing a gaming company, but he's not getting affected. Maybe one day.
That's beautiful, Alokji. In your book, The Cave, you have pointed to many masters, including Deepak Chopra, Neem Karoli Baba, Paramahansa Yoga Ji, of course,
and of course Mahavatar Baba Ji.
Mahavatar Baba Ji, and of course Gurudev.
Correct.
I know this is a tricky one, and there can't be a specific answer to that.
Correct.
But I'm still asking.
Sure.
Which of these teachers have inspired you the most, and why?
Sure. So I think again in our culture, every guru has something to teach you.
Absolutely.
है ना? तो एक तो distinction जो है ना रमन जी, God and Guru, that is very clear. My gods are multiple. Banke Bihari gifted me my first company. All these other guys, Babaji is always present, omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent. Great God. So gods can exist in as many as you want. You saw our altar, there are so many gods. The Guru is one. And we are very fortunate, very, very, kitni baar very main bolu, to have a living Guru.
Absolutely.
And a Guru who's young. I mean, his behavior is 10x younger than me. So Guru is a living Guru, and his practices and his preaching is what we follow. That is no conditionality to that, non-negotiable. Other than that, we indulge in whatever we want. So I'll talk about a principle, I'm a big Dvait guy. A Dvait is a totally different, मुझे तो Dvait dualism में बहुत मजा आता है. So, whether you do puja, whether you do part, whether you go to church, whether you do your Sahaj Samadhi yoga, whether you do meditation, I feel it's a blessing to be amidst an ocean of so many things and enjoy these practices as much as you stick to the real practice that you want. So for me, it's just flavors of different things with one goal, that what my Guru has asked me to do, I will do and do my best.
It's actually a blessing to have a, as you mentioned, to have a living
Living
guru,
guru, correct.
and have so much conviction, so much. Um, it is a grace. It doesn't really happen to everybody.
Correct.
It's a grace which is given by showered by some higher power.
100%.
And
Correct.
I mean, you're certainly so very fortunate.
Correct. But Ramanji, I'll add an asterisk to that again. I'll add a condition. See, in this age and time, no, 2024, I'll tell anyone to believe me. They'll believe me. They'll do what I tell them to do. 1 day, 2 days, 5 days, 1 week. After that, if the results are not there, they won't do it.
Absolutely.
So in my life, results have come.
Absolutely.
Which is why we are on the path for 20 years. And the reason I brought this as a side topic is there are many fallen gurus of our age.
Right.
Gurus have had disrespect, disrepute. Here's the funny part, and I'll obviously not talk about their names. There is a guru who's fallen bad times. It's fine. So there is to be a server in our club in Bombay, in CCI, who was an ardent follower of that guru. I learned this principle from him. So for many months, I was very shy to ask him, how are you doing now? How's the practice? Because, the public news was very bad. Then one day I asked him. He was unfazed. He looked at me and he smiled and he said, sir, I am going every day. I'm doing everything. So I said, where are you going? He says, I'm going to the jail. If my guru is in the jail, we are standing outside and practicing. I said, wow. And he said, sir, मैं आपको बताऊं ना, I have changed from 0 to 100. मैं zero था, मैं hero बन गया. मुझे क्या लेना देना उन्होंने क्या किया? That was such a big, deep insight that if personal transformation has happened to you, it doesn't matter what karma the guru is living right now.
Absolutely.
So that is when it benefits you, you keep on doing it. Otherwise, there's no way you'll believe anything. No way.
Absolutely.
है ना?
I'll share one experience of mine. Again, I'll not name the
correct.
guru, but one guru who is now quite infamous
Correct.
for
Correct.
different reasons.
Correct.
He came to my hometown.
Wow.
That was in Hisar. I must be 11 years old.
Superb.
And I attended his discourses, and I was about to give up everything.
बाप रे.
हाँ, मैंने अपने पापा को बोला कि भाई मेरे को तो यहाँ बस मेरे को इन्हीं के साथ जाना है, और मेरे 3 घर छोड़ के एक और लड़का उनके साथ चला गया. I don't know what happened. I don't even remember how my father convinced me back, but I was completely overwhelmed.
Correct.
I remember that feeling. That feeling was real.
Yeah.
That fulfillment was real.
Correct.
Irrespective of what is happening to that guru.
Perfect.
That gave me a very deep insight. It's not the teacher. It's your own
amazing
sincerity that will take you to the next level.
100%. So well
your
said.
own sadhana that will take you to the next level.
Brilliant.
मेरे को ये बहुत बाद में रियलाइज हुआ.
Brilliant.
कि उससे फर्क नहीं पड़ता, बट वो फीलिंग तो रियल थी, वो श्रद्धा रियल थी.
मैं कहानी बताऊं सर?
सिंपल. हाँ जी बिल्कुल.
Forget, ये तो mortal men है ना. So you know that story, no? Hanuman ji and Ram, they were on the tat of South India, and they knew they have to go to Lanka. I'll share it with the reader, with the listeners, even if they know. So Hanuman ji keeps forgetting his power. So someone said, you are so and so. He did all his meditations and he said, Jai Shri Ram. And he jumped and leapt. And Ram had to still build the setu and go. So, as you rightly said, the teacher and his gift, and the teacher himself and his doing, no one knows. The world manifests itself in many ways. You know?
Bilkul. Coming to another point. So, you have also mentioned your wife Chaviji several times in the book.
Correct.
She is also a art of living teacher.
Yes.
One conversation with you, between her and you, inspired you to take a flight to Hyderabad.
Correct.
That paved
unbelievable.
Paved the way to the inception of Games to Win.
Correct.
So what role has she played in your spiritual journey and awakening process?
Right. I think I feel I told Chavi's parents, it's very interesting. Ramanji, little backstory. Chavi and I come from, we are arranged marriage and totally diverse family. Matlab, I've been a South Bombay, Marwadi, Agarwal forever. Chavi is from Delhi, old Delhi. It was, the unlikeliness of us meeting through an arranged match was 0%. We've been married now 33 years. So I told her parents about a year back that it's not something that was about a marriage. It was about probably a larger outcome, for two people to get together and teach and meditate and to pray together. In many ways, now I feel she's my mini guru. And
Beautiful.
yeah, and I think as the masters have had their wives becoming their mother, part of it, and I'm not embarrassed in saying this at all, we've had children, we are husband and wife, but a lot of the learnings, a lot of the things that I'm very confused about, I ask her. So in many ways, she's leap years ahead of me. And I think because she's someone who does what I do and 10x more, it's very easy to do this. Otherwise, आप सोचो 2-3 hours a day if you meditate in between. We only do spiritual tours now. We don't go for the regular sightseeing, and we're all the time with babas and with gurus. It's very hard for someone to coexist with people. I know many couples where they're totally diverse. The husband and wife are very different. So I think it's gift of Guru and God to get us together. And we are leveraging that to grow on this path because everything else has been done. So yeah, very fortunate. Very, very important anchor in my life to
So
take me forward.
beautiful.
Yeah. And she's done everything first. She became the first Art of Living teacher. She became Said Samadhi teacher. So always she does everything first.
And you are yourself a dedicated meditator and
Correct.
also a teacher. You have taught meditation to countless number of people. What are the common mistakes people make
Hmm.
in their meditation practice?
I love it. The first, I would say 90% is inconsistency. It is a burden. I will say it is a burden. It is hard work. It is the most boring thing you could do. Sitting on a mat, trying to make your mind, or rather practice something which is alien to us. It's so easy to pick up the phone and keep flipping Instagram, or maybe to even work, maybe to just go for a walk. So that sacrifice of that half an hour, even though it's only half an hour, is so hard. A lot of people just don't practice. And the reason I say this is every time they come back, they say, oh, we used to enjoy it. Every time they fall into some mess and they come back again, we used to enjoy it. People who never come back and I meet them, Alok, yeah, it was very good, but मेरे को time नहीं मिलता है. तो ये time नहीं मिलने वाला concept is a big बीमारी. The second is, I think they try too hard. Meditation is about deconcentration. It's not concentration. Meditating is letting go, not
Absolutely.
trying to get things. So when your intent is to become a better you, the results are different. If you're trying to use meditation to get some quick results, instant gratification is not going to work. So the mindset has to be what the cause was all about, not your own concoction. The other thing that's happening a little bit is खिचड़ी spiritualism. लोग यहाँ भी जाते हैं, वहाँ भी जाते हैं. अब वो बोलते हैं 1 महीना मैं बुद्धिस्ट चैंटिंग कर रहा हूँ, फिर मैं गीता पढ़ रहा हूँ, देन आई एम डूइंग दिस. सो आई से यार मतलब आप फिर आपको अपसेट टमी हो जाएगा. यू हैव टू स्टिक टू वन पाथ. Yeah, I mean that's it. People who would never see, you can't come to meditation just as a accidental meditator. You come because there's an intent.
Right.
Unlike say a city, we all go to some place in the world, there was no intention except okay, you heard about it, you went there, you may never come back again. But when you come to practice something must have driven you.
Right.
So what drove you away is a very hard question. And these are the 3 or 4 things I see. And we all prepare the ground. I come every Sunday, come for practice, watch a couple of videos, do this. ऐसा भी नहीं है कि भाई the sages of the past 200-300 years ago was so hard, so tough. Unless you live in an ashram, आपको चांस ही नहीं मिलेगा. अभी तो आप कुछ भी करो, कहीं भी करो.
इंटरनेट पे अवेलेबल है.
Internet, I share something, Ramanji, which shocked, made me feel so, it made me cringe and made me cry. In one of the satsangs of Gurudev, Shri Ravi Shankar, a lady put up a hand and said, Gurudev, in my house, people are so angry that I meditate and do Kriya. When I do Kriya, they try to beat me. Beat me. And then she said, so can I do the Kriya in the bathroom? And in 1 second, Guru said, हाँ, क्यों नहीं? बाथरूम में करो आप, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं. अब आप सोचो कौन से which world would a guru say बाथरूम में आप क्रिया करो. So the gurus of the present are very compassionate. They're very modern. They know 10x better than what you know yourself. You just have to do. And I'll conclude by saying, Ramanji, this is not about spirituality. This is about all good skills we want to learn in life.
Absolutely.
You know, you and your founding team have gone through that curve. It's the 0.002 that survive because we go through that grind. Even learning cycling, even learning swimming, आप बस give up करने में, you know, I try to learn swimming now. I just gave up. The stamina that you require to swim is very different from running.
Absolutely.
So giving up has become part of our day-to-day culture now. I'll try, you know, people give up on relationships, people give up on marriages. ऐसे चुटकी बजाकर they run away, you know. So I think this culture is counter-culture to everything that is good in life. Very hard. Temporary, transient. Let me try. You can try many things in life, but some things are for real, no?
You don't really lose weight by just one day.
No way.
By walking for a day.
Correct. So to be at it.
At one point in time, Alokji, you were not feeling fulfilled despite all the achievements.
Correct.
And you discovered and realized your sense of purpose.
Wow.
In a meditation practice.
Right.
That was to help people in their entrepreneurial journey.
Lovely.
And that's when you started the roadinghoods.com.
Correct.
Which has become a go-to destination for entrepreneurs. What would be your suggestion? How can people discover and realize their passion and purpose? This is one question that many people have, but are not clear.
Correct.
Since you found one,
right?
What would be your suggestion?
Sure. I have two formulas. It's a simple formulaic. It's an algorithm actually. One is you have to figure out what gives you the highest joy. So this again my guru taught me, and this has nothing to do with giving back. You know, this was to do with something I'd like to share, which is why do we meditate? Straight away, let's jump to that first. So he said, look, it's to give you joy. And the immediate answer is, but joy can come to me with many sources. So he said, you know, make a list. Alcohol, smoking, cigarettes, whatever you call it, all the vices in the world, all give you joy. Then he said, next to it, calibrate how long does the joy last for? How much do you need to get the joy back? And is there any negative of that? Now, the list is looking very wacko, right? And meditation takes a long time to give you joy, but it lasts for the whole day and it only benefits you, doesn't take away from you. And if you drink 7 pegs a day, you're not going to be in a good state in 10 years. So what happens is basically this concept is what gives you the biggest joy. And I realized in my journey that it was not giving some monies away or, you know, randomly helping people. It was giving my knowledge. So first step is find what gives you joy. And the second is basically to really think inward and to, you know, kind of figure out, is that joy something that you can give in a little bit more scalable, in a little bit more practical way. You know, आप कितने लोगों को कपड़े बांट सकते हो, आप कितने लोगों को पैसा दे सकते हो, it's finite. So if it is something to do with the hierarchy, right, the purest to the grossest, that really works well. So first find your skill and then find the time to give that, to get that joy. Very hard. You know, I'll again segue away. Sorry, you've fired my imagination. I keep sharing the stories. So even for our readers and listeners and viewers, you know, there's a lady, I asked someone yesterday only this question. So there was a lady, I've already given the hint. There was someone who had the power to call any leader in the world, any leader, and that person would take a call. It's recorded, right? So you call up Putin, you call up Biden, you call up the Jing Kong Jing, whoever he is, he takes it. So someone said, is it your guru? I said, no. I think my guru will also may have to go through protocol. Biden will not straight away say, okay, he might say whatever. So I said, who is this person? And they said, we don't know. I said, it was Mother Teresa. No one refused a call. And all she would say is, give me so much money, I need it. So what happened was she figured out that her compassion, which gave her joy, became the joy for others. And that became her platform. So I think that's the simple thing. आप अपने joy कहाँ है पहले वो देख लो, फिर आप उसको कितनी बार कर सकते हो वो आप कर लो. That's a formula.
And this is a simple formula.
Yeah.
It took me 10 years. I did my first spiritual retreat at the age of 27. It was 2008. And since then, I have been thinking of doing something around meditation.
Right.
It took me good 10, 12 years
Wow.
to muster up that courage to start Idanim. I
Nice.
always wanted to do
Sure.
it
Wow.
because
Sure.
wanted to spread mindfulness or meditation, talk about it. I completely agree with you.
And you said 11, you had that intention to be with that guru at 11 years old. So the seeds had been sown much earlier.
Absolutely.
Yeah. 11-year-old boys want to, play cricket.
Yes. Many things happen in everyone's life. How do we identify those events that lead us to our purpose, our goal in life?
It's an interesting question, Ramanji. Now, क्या होता है ना, coincidences happen to all of us. Once is a happening, second is a coincidence, third is a pattern. If you have to be intelligent to see what is a pattern, every time I ask for a kind of something, it happens to me. Why? Or if it says, I just thought of someone called me. Second time also it's happened. It's a pattern. Now, this is the most dangerous part because people don't want to believe these kind of things. These are all voodoo. They're all old nonsense. This is superstition. So the logical mind resists this even more. So far as meditation and spirituality is, at least there is a science behind it. Calmer mind, you have also, there's no research around coincidences. So if you say, look, I want to leverage everything that the universe has for me, I will do my practice, I'll do my effort, but there are some powers that are not meant to be accessible without faith. Now we look back and say, okay, there is faith in what we do. Even the hardest nut has a vulnerable moment. So even if you are in that state, it can't be that you are not human. So therefore, if you just let that little window in your life be open, and okay, 90% of my access is all preordained. I will do this, I will do. One window I leave open. Then things happen. Now, the challenge is not to get swayed by it. That is the danger of this all. I meet such deep spiritualists who keep talking about coincidences. I did this, someone make a boss, you're totally getting swayed out. You're not understanding the purpose. So that again is a very dangerous thing. So I would say this, don't focus on it as much as you think you should. Enjoy the ride. If you're on the right path and if you're doing your spiritual practices, this will increasingly happen to the point where it becomes normal. So Shishi says that jo chahte hain wo ho jata hai. And he says it so innocently, like, why are you God or what? Sometimes if you're hearing him, you'll say, what are you talking? And he's not saying it like an assertion of his power. He's saying, if you want, so there's a rule, na? The rule is, if you wish for something, the universe follows a hierarchy. Hierarchy is what's best for the world, or what's best for some more people, or then what's best for you. So it happens. So then you just go with the ride. But I would say for someone who's on this path, and if you're enjoying the blessings of the practice, keep your eyes open And again, Deepak Chopra also, there's a very, very nice book I'd recommend, Synchronicity or Synchrodestiny, sorry, where he talks about it phenomenally well with science attached to it. So it works. Also, na, Ramanji, this constant chatter of manifestation, the power of manifestation. Right. So this is also quite conjoined with this whole idea of wanting and having it done. So it works. Manifestation, people know it manifests.
You also talk about the power of prayer.
Correct.
Seems like there is a higher power that answers all our prayers,
correct,
all our wishes.
Correct, correct.
And that power has been very kind to you. How do we access that power?
Lovely. So, Ramanji, even that, so one, first and foremost, we all are blessed with that unit of what we would call, prayers getting answered. It's like blood, we all have blood. Some of us don't want to, most of us feel they don't understand it because of the training. Don't be vulnerable. Don't, who am I addressing? And in the world of instant gratification, it's even harder. We don't pray to Instagram that may my post, get automatically uploaded. So we're trained by design to do things. But then if you look back, can anyone say that you've never prayed in your life? Impossible. If your plane goes to an air bubble and crashes or, swoops down 1,000 feet, you'll only be praying. So one other way to look at it is what comes naturally in a moment of danger or crisis. I challenge anyone to tell me that I was not praying. Something you can remember your mom. Arey mummy. That is a prayer only. Mummy thodi aane wali hai. So that means there is something inbuilt which makes you want to look at something when you don't have control. So why not leverage it when you have control? And prayer also has to be heartfelt and has to be pure and has to not always be about wanting. It also has to be communal. It has to be, can my company survive? Can my investors get an exit? It may not benefit me. Like in the world we live in, very often when investors flip, entrepreneurs just see a changing of the shareholders and sometimes it can be nasty. But you want them to succeed also. So if the wins can be more about others as much as yourself, then also prayers happen. And in the end, when people like the Dalai Lamas, like I keep saying, if you look at Dalai Lama's life and the way Tibet has been snatched away from someone like him, he's got compassion. He only wants the best to happen. So when you can have things taken away from you and if you can still bless and have compassion, then there is no limit to what prayer can do. I mean, imagine wishing your enemy well. That is insane. So there are enough examples to live by. It's not something like some other planet that something is supposed to be happening there. These are all in front of us. Then it's incredible. It always works out.
Beautiful. Alokji, you have read so many books. What would be your top 3 recommendations for a spiritual book?
Very nice. The first would be the autobiography of a yogi, because it is a story, it is an adventure, it is a thriller, and it's got realms of the other world that you may or may not want to believe in. So I tell people, read it like a novel. Like Matrix is a movie that you may not believe and you should not believe. But it is a true life story of a monk, of a sage,
yes,
who has blessed the world with so much benefit. So just think of it as an entrepreneur who did good to the mankind. Inside that book are blessings that are embedded by Paramahansa Yogananda, which he says very, very clearly. I have my vibrations in that book. That is very hard to let go. The other is a book actually by my guru, a sincere note to the intimate note to the sincere seeker. See, gurus of today's age and time are very contemporary. They can snapify, simplify, contextualized learnings which are otherwise very hard. So this book is very, very simple to read, and you don't have to follow it in chronology. You know how that thing is, you flip any page and it tells you. It's a little fun to do. That's a great book also. The third is a little esoteric, but I'm going to still go there because I want people to have a variety. There is a book called The Voice of Babaji. Now, Babaji is featured in the autobiography of a yogi, but
Yes.
he is well known now. All the people are chasing him, you know. Rajnikant goes to his cave every year and everybody knows Babaji. So Babaji appeared in a house in Chennai, and he dictated this book in 1952 and 1953.
Okay.
My wife and I go to that house very often just to sit and meditate. And when you read that book, it's part written by Babaji. It's actually he's written as an author. And two other authors, two journalists have also written the book. Here's the interesting part. When you read that book, instinctively you will know what is Babaji and who is the other author. Because human and God clearly come out.
Okay.
So I've never read a book where you can instantly say there are three authors and this guy is human and this guy is God. It's startling.
Wow.
Yeah. The Voice of Babaji. So it's very, very interesting. And then there are, of course, many, many others. But I would also suggest the Bhagavad Gita by Sri Sri.
Okay.
Again, very simplified, very, very contextual. Chapters 1 to 12, if I'm not mistaken. Very, very good. So yeah, great. I can keep giving book recommendations.
You talked about cave. I know you recently went to cave again.
Yes.
What draws you to it again and again?
I think one is like all our sages, sons, Mahatmas have said, any place of spiritual worship keeps on aggregating energy. That is why all the Kedarnaths and Yamnotris are all popular. Why would anyone go through the hardship, right? Golden Temple, every temple. Secondly, obviously it is historic because the Kriya Yoga was taught there, unveiled again.
Hanji.
It was always there, but Babaji gave it to Lahiri Mahashaya again in this age and time. Third is, the hills and the mountains have energy that is unique to themselves. I'll give you a very funny story. There is a very famous Gurudev, a Guruji, who has an ashram right up in the hills in Uttarakhand or somewhere, even today, living Guru. And he's got a very big followership in Bombay. So kya hota hai, Ramanji, when he comes to, he doesn't do anything. It's very thanda, things are going on. His chelas are very anxious ki Gurudev kuch karo, kuch naya karte hain. To bolte haan. When he comes to Bombay, he becomes hyperactive. उन सबको orders देते हैं, plan बनाते हैं, agenda बनाते हैं, and those chelas become very happy. He goes back, 1 month, 2 months, and they keep calling, Gurudev, Guruji, reply नहीं आता है. Then one guy told him कि हम तो बहुत परेशान हो गए, आप इतना एनर्जी यहाँ दिखाते हो. तो बोलते हैं, अरे भाई तुम्हारे बॉम्बे का पानी ऐसा है कि यहाँ का हवा ही ऐसी है, वहाँ पर सब बुद्धि मटीरियलिस्टिक हो जाती है, और जब ऊपर जाते हैं तो वी आर फाइन. So the energy, the calmness, the soul of the mountains become the soul that you can access. And if you go to a material place like a Bombay or a New York, you will feel that energy being directed in something else.
Right.
So, in autobiography of a yogi, Paramahansa says LA is the Banaras of the West. And it's so coincidental, so many great spiritual movements started in California. Right. In fact, California, he calls it like the Kali land, which broke away. So these places are divine. Like if you go to the Sistine Chapel, if you go to the great temples of the world, you will find, even though you're a non-believer, something great. So you have to go to these places because that is when you feel something. Otherwise, you can go to a bar and not feel anything. So the best thing for us to do in this age and time is compare. Like, why do you feel good at a beach? Why do you feel good in a forest? Why do you feel good when you go and see to Switzerland? Those are meditative places. So Gurudev also says, when you're feeling depressed or low, look at either a forest or an ocean or the sky because of expansion.
Right.
No one will say, look at a skyscraper. So it's natural, it's part of us, like a beach. Why does it make you feel happy? Because it's pure and it's divine and it's natural.
Alokji, you are a very successful entrepreneur and quite popular for the and you write a lot. You're quite popular on LinkedIn. How do you keep yourself centered with all this success and fame?
I think Guru Krapa, grace and God and Guru, more than that, it's so finite what we are. See, if you see life in a very close way, you see so many people who just pop it the next day. I'll share something very interesting with you. This is a rental house. And someone said in India, in Bombay, there's a big culture of buying. Even in India, it's a very big culture of
Right.
buying. Of course, as capitalists, is very capital inefficient to buy something new. But then I told something very interesting, and I haven't documented it in my book. You keep reminding yourself that everything is on rent. Life is on rent. The body is on rent. Your day on earth is on rent. So, Ramanji, many years ago, before I went into any path, for 8 years, I followed a Japanese spiritual practice.
Okay.
And it was called Tenrikyo. It's from rural Japan,
अच्छा.
So वहाँ पर क्या हुआ, पहले दिन मैं गया तो there was a goddess Oyasa, and I was very excited. Hindu, if you're ritualistic, goddess means goddess. Kali and Lakshmi, you're seeing all the goddesses. And I said, इनका god देखते हैं कौन है. So even before you access her, you have a lot of ceremony. You stand and you dance and all that. And then the sensei said, I'll unveil the goddess. And he opened the altar and there was a mirror. And Oyasama is a mirror. She is you. You look at yourself.
Beautiful.
So that entire practice was, you are on rent. And it didn't occur to me. And he says, your body has been given to you on rent to progress. If you don't do what you're supposed to do, the body will start telling you what's wrong. I found that little weird, So one lady came to him, very old. Her knees were very pained. Now sensei also very mild in that place, in that what do we call it, spiritual house. But when he would consult, he would become very different. एक भाव बोलते हैं ना, भाव आ जाता है. I would see very stern. And he told the lady that, who would you keep hassling every day? So she got very stunned. How is this guy talking? And he says the knees, they arrest you from walking. If you are going to keep hassling and परेशान करोगे people, the knees will only stop working. तो आप आगे हिल ही नहीं पाओगे. She started crying. She said, all my daughter-in-laws I've rugdophied for so many years. I've harassed them. And she just broke down. One other guy came. He said, I have a big backache. So, well, the back is a part of your body you can't see. So what are you hiding? Who are you hiding from? He broke down. So their philosophy is the body which is on rent is something to help preserve. It's not yours. And we know that. In 1 minute, people have gone. So that stuck with me. So I keep telling my wife and myself that everything is on rent. तो रेंटर को कैसे अभिमान होगा सर? नहीं हो सकता है ना. तो थोड़ा थोड़ा ऐसे तकलीफ कर कर अपने लोग अपने आप को याद कर सकते हैं कि nothing is permanent. And it's life around us. Yeah, we are now in that age and time, and I'm sure people who are younger are watching. People just move on without any notice, without any. Look at COVID, greatest example of what life can do. So vulnerability is the secret of success, I think.
That's very humbling as well.
Yeah, nice conversation.
So thank you so much, Alokji, for sparing time. It is always fun to talk to you and learn from your experience, learn from your practice, learn from your journey. Really, thank you for sparing time and sharing your
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Jai Gurudev Om Babaji. So
Namaste.
nice, so nice. Thank you, and
Thank you.
keep
Thank
spreading
you.
the light. You know?
Thank you, Alokji. Will certainly need your wishes,
Always,
blessings.
always. Right. Thank you so much, Ramanji.
Thank you.